Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of CNJ and Scotty. Welcome to another episode of CNJ and Scotty. We will now have our countdown. So, welcome everyone, and when we return, Scotty will take his head out of his phone and talk to you. Good evening again, everyone, and to another night. It is CNJ and
Scotty.
Scotty. So, what do you have for us this evening, Scotty? I see you had you have a fresh trim again, or is it because you don't have on the glasses you look different?
Very good one, a very good one. Is the same one? I don't have not I don't trim um from from uh from the 25th, remember, of March. I didn't go back to the barber. So I'm just maintaining the low cut until needs be. Look here, it's COVID time, we have to learn to navigate to navigate during this pandemic. I don't want to have to be facing COVID and lack of money. Although I'm facing it already, Miss Johnson, but you know what I mean. Everybody's facing that lack of that lack of money right now. So yes, Miss Johnson. So today's topic is navigating the COVID-19 pandemic while preparing for external examination. A topic that I think that is geared at helping students to know that they can do it. And in this case, this will be our second batch of students um,
Yes.
going into going into an examination situation like this. So I had invited two of my students, one who is currently a fifth form student and one who has gone through it already. To just share with persons like, for example, us teachers, sometimes I believe that sometimes as teachers we don't know the behind the scenes in getting the SBA. We just want to mad the SBA and get it out of the way. But sometimes individual situations at home or inside the child's mindset can affect the quality of SBA and can affect or prepare not only in terms of the content but in terms of their
Yes.
self-esteem going into the examination. So one of the things I realized is that there's a bar between teachers and students in terms of students might believe that we don't understand that because we did not go through our examination during a pandemic. So we don't understand the frustration. We don't understand this. We just want to get things done. So I wanted for students to talk to students. That's what I wanted today. But because of some difficulties, because I sent them a link, but not we don't have any now, Miss Johnson. We don't have any now with us.
Yeah, man, we have two young men with us right now. We have Matthew
Yes,
Hamilton and we have
yes, yes,
Andre.
yes. And I'm very happy because what we have now is Andre, who is a brilliant student, not only brilliant but knowledgeable, and actually he is also the president of the student council. And we have indeed someone who's going to the Excelsior Community College, a past student of our school, and
Wow.
he's actually at the Excelsior Community College. He went through this period last year, getting the multiple choice questions only, getting
Mhm.
teachers not there physically with him. So let us start off
Mhm.
first with Andre, because Andre
Mhm.
is actually the one I'm worried about now, because he is the one who few months from now is the one who is going into an examination room. So I want to see what mindset now he has now, and then we can do a follow up with Johnson if the case be to see where is that now. So now we can now, and we can look at after the examination. We can do a follow up with him to see if the
Okay.
nervousness and if not being prepared, it
But
just
hold on,
work
Mr.
fresh.
But hold on, Mr. Scott. Let me ask Andre. Are you nervous, Andre? Are you? You don't seem a nervous type, a young man at all.
Once more, pleasant night, everyone, and thank you for having me on. And Miss, honestly, I am nervous. Indeed, I am. Um, it's really, to be honest, it's really difficult to really navigate through a pandemic
Mm-hmm.
without proper guidance at times to try and pass an
Okay.
exam where we really don't
Mm-hmm.
have adequate time to study because for example, I am a science student and I have a lot of
Mm-hmm.
labs to complete, a lot of things to write up, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing subjects that contain a lot of math, so it requires a lot of practice.
Okay.
And this pandemic
Okay.
hasn't really blessed us with the opportunity to practice a lot. So that is something that
Okay.
is very terrifying. But otherwise, I might not appear nervous, but I am nervous. And I know a lot of my peers are also. I'm going into the exam. I have a mindset to pass the exams because I really want to succeed despite this pandemic and what everyone is saying. I really want to do something, not to prove it to others or prove something to others. I want to prove something to myself that despite the odds, I
Okay.
can still push on. And that is the mindset that I want my peers also to have. I want them to think that just because this is a pandemic and they're probably not getting the grades on the class assignments and the tests and the exams, the major exams are right around the corner, they might feel demotivated. But I want my peers not to compare themselves to others because I think that's where the fatal blow comes in. When you compare
Okay.
yourself to others, you measure your growth by the growth of others. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's where that mindset, that pessimistic mindset comes in because there are a lot of
Yeah.
factors that might affect one growing a lot compared to you that you're growing to a certain level. There are a lot of factors that can affect. But you're just looking
Mm-hmm.
at the main thing as in, oh, you're getting that a 95 and oh, I'm getting a 50, so oh, I'm not as
Okay.
smart as you. But there are a lot of factors you don't know. You don't know that person's background, the challenges that they have
Mm-hmm.
also. You don't know the amount of things or devices, the availability of devices that they have. So there are a
Mm-hmm.
lot of factors that go into things when we see persons getting grades and we think or we assume
Mm-hmm.
that
All right. All right. I think I'm
everything's all right.
understanding you. You are nervous, but you are positive. You are
Yes.
Indeed,
nervous,
yes,
but you're trying your best. You are
yes, ma'am.
nervous of the unknown, but you believe in yourself and you want others to do the same, that no matter the challenges that they may be having, be positive. I love
Yes,
that
ma'am.
what you're saying here. But I wanted to ask Matthew, when you were in the same position last year, Matthew, being the first set to undergo something like this, I'm sure you were also nervous,
Christmas. Good night, everyone.
right?
Well, yes, I was nervous, but I had the support. My mother,
Okay.
father, push me, and also so at the end of the day, I knew what me the sacrifice on the phone and things like that. Sure that wherever I
Am I the only one
Am I
getting
the only one
feedback?
getting feedback? I'm kind of getting it too,
I'm
but
getting that
I think
feedback
that
as well.
but I think that when it is finished, we will not hear the feedback. I think it's a part of the whole thing.
Okay, okay.
Okay,
But
okay.
I love
But
what Matthew
I
is
love what
saying,
Matthew is saying
that there
that
were,
there
he was
were he
nervous,
was nervous,
but he
but
realized,
he
but he had the
realized, but he
support of
had
individuals. So he felt good.
Christmas.
All right, great. And there's a young lady here as well that I'm going to add to the mix.
yes, Miss
While
Johnson, but I just want to, while adding her, Miss Johnson, I just want to point out something, a very important point that I'm getting at for this discussion here. You started the conversation saying that Andre, the way Andre speaks and the way Andre carries himself, you don't think of Andre as being nervous, and that is something for us as teachers to learn, that someone
yes,
can look like they are okay, they are fine, and they are bright and things like that. But sometimes we question our own ability, and I know that as teachers, sometimes even ourselves question, can can I deliver this content during this period? Am I doing enough? How can I reach my class? So just like how we are questioning our abilities and what we have, our resources, our students are also doing that. And we touch and see where Matthew now. Matthew is one of my answer was he's still one of my close students because even though he's not that much anymore, we still keep in contact. And I can tell you that when Matthew did his mathematics, Andre, when he usually got the grade, his classmates laugh at him. He laughing there. His classmates laugh at him. And Matthew did his mathematics and got a distinction in his
All
mathematics.
right.
So Andre touched on something very important. Andre say, do not measure yourself with other people. Go at your own pace and do the best that you can do. And as teachers, that is what we should tell our students.
Mm-hmm.
Do not compare them to someone before. Do not have high expectation for them. Just allow them to do their best.
Mm-hmm.
I spoke to Andre earlier. I spoke to Andre earlier. Andre said that he's not been sleeping for some while. He's going to his bed 5 o'clock. Come on, Miss Johnson. When a child is doing that because they want to get good grades and things like that, it means that they are actually doing the best that they can. So it's not about who's brighter or smarter. It's about who is more determined. So I want to just I like those two parts to say that two of them went through something. Matthew, no, sorry. Two of them, Matthew, Andre don't go through it as yet. Andre is preparing to go through it. Matthew has gone through it. And I think Matthew is still going through a different phase
Mm-hmm.
of this in his life because he's now at Excelsior Community College where he's not seeing his lecturers, he's doing it online. So therefore he has graduated from the high school, he's in college now, in a pandemic. So very soon we might have we might have a next interview where now Andre is either in sixth form or in college. And Matthew now is at a higher standard, so people are always beneath you and people is always above you. And therefore we need to have this discussion to help persons to help us to feel motivated to say that you went to Markdale School. You sat in front of Miss Johnson. You sat in front of Mr. Scott. I did the same. And if I can do it, you can do it too. It is based on determination. I want to pause to acknowledge Natalie Donaldson. She can't stay along with us because she has a church service to do. She's a devoted Christian. So, but when I spoke to Andre earlier to ask Andre what are some of the things we can talk about tonight, Andre is saying that one of his most challenging subjects is the ADMATs. So I reached out to Natalie, who went through a period of not having any teacher, went through a period where she was nervous about going into, and ADMAT is the shortening for additional mathematics. It's when the child is doing advanced subject above the regular 6 mathematics. So if 6 mathematics is so hard for me, what the yourself there? It's so hard for me. Can you imagine additional mathematics and having to take up the responsibility on your own, like Andre is doing now? So Natalie took up the responsibility, went to extra class outside of the school system, outside of our regular school system, and she also studied on her own. And the same thing I realized that Andre is actually doing now. So I just want Natalie, to just share her experience, and speaking specifically to the ADMAT situation. So Andre can get some amount of confidence and knowledge about how to go about sitting that examination, not feeling fearful of it. So Natalie,
Hello, good night, everyone.
good night.
Right.
I just want to say that I went through the same situation as Andre. At first, I felt like giving up because it was hard. We didn't have any teacher, and AdMath, it's not regular math, and regular math is very hard. So when you're doing advanced math, it's even harder. But at the end of the day, I did not give up. I went to class even on Sundays, Saturdays, a lot of time. I reach home at night. I used to live in Mountain View, so sometime after 9, we reach home, and that's a Mountain View. And for most of the subjects, it's not, the information is not limited to what the teacher has to offer. Everything is on the internet, everything. Even on YouTube right now, I am doing CAPE, and trust me, YouTube helps a lot because you just type in YouTube, type in whatever you want in YouTube, and you have persons teaching it, explaining it. Maybe you don't understand when your teacher talks, but when you go to YouTube, you will understand. And also you can ask your friends for assistance. Sometimes what the teacher says does not, you don't comprehend, but sometimes when your friend talk it in their own language or so, you'll understand. So I'm just telling you not to give up and have faith in yourself, and please put God first. Thank you. That's it.
So you recommend the University of YouTube?
Huh?
Now I'm saying that you will recommend the University of YouTube.
Yes, it's very helpful. It is helping me in chemistry right now. I am not really a fan of chemistry, and trust me, YouTube is doing a lot. Especially in biology, and YouTube is doing a lot. I would recommend it.
So I know that I just want to leave it at it, but I want to start off by asking you this question. It's a very important question. During your first period, in the pandemic, at high school, do you think that you got enough support from your teachers?
Oh, not from all of them, but you have teachers like you that's always motivating us and always believing in us and always, nice way up. Yeah, I'm a top pitney, and them something that motivate we. Push yourself to do better because we don't want to disappoint you. So yeah, that helped a lot.
Matthew, and then I ask Andre now if he's getting the support from teachers, because I want us to know teachers is a team effort in terms of teachers have to play their part, you have to play your part, your parents have to play your part. So I want to know about the support system that you have basically at the time, Matthew, from school, and are you getting that now in a new environment now, Matthew? Are you getting that support? So we're talking about support now. Starting with Matthew.
Well, sir, back in high school, when during the pandemic and such, I'd say yes, my teachers were very supportive, and I really appreciate that. Now, being in a new environment, it's not so. There are many times where in class, a student probably don't, a student is probably not sure about something that is being taught, and he asks the teacher, and the teacher practically shun him off, tell him that, hey, right now is not the time for that. Just focus on the board, and you're a big student, you're practically adults. Go on YouTube, YouTube, and here YouTube's comes back in very handy. So the support is
Hold on, Matthew. You're saying that in a class situation, when a question is asked, the teacher will say, "Go YouTube it."
yes, me sometimes. Well, most times to be honest. Yes, miss. So
And
sup-
Miss John, can we say that it's based on the level? Is it based on the level? Even so like how he's going to college now, like college we don't really spoon feed them, so they will have to find what we call now effort in finding their
As you
own
get
answers.
older, what the young people realize that as you older, there was a saying when I was going to university that you read for your degree. It has moved from just reading for your degree now to watching for your degree. So, so they're saying now that you have to do a lot of independent work, And I think sometime at the high school level, because from you were in first form, there's a kind of spoon feeding. So I think we're moving away from the spoon feeding now to helping students to be first world or 21st century thinkers, persons who are able to see something and be able to find different ways in order to get to the final result. And I think that is why many different teachers teach in different ways, not just the giving of information, but sometimes experimental experiments, discovery student, so that as you get older and you have bigger challenges and different things to figure out, that you're not just sitting to see it in a textbook explaining it to you totally, but for you to actually go through that investigation. So it's not that I would just say to a child, go YouTube it, but we have to explain to them the framework that must be in place for you to be able to discover and to understand. And I think that is what Natalie is trying to say, that whatever she faces a challenge right now, I love when she said, don't give up when the challenge comes, but find unique ways to get to where you want to go. And going to YouTube, where you have a wide array of different teachers, different content creators putting their content out there, that you are able to find someone who you will be able to understand teaching the content. You're not going to just find it, so they're not going to just come upon you so on YouTube. YouTube in itself is its own encyclopedia right now. You have to search and pull away the layers, actually get to that person. But if you find that person who is teaching that subject that you want, and you realize that you're able to understand from them, you have found a gold mine. But I think you had the same question now for Andre.
Andre, yes, miss.
Oh, yes, for the most part, miss, I have to say, indeed, all the teachers that I've come across, miss, especially my science teachers, miss, they are extremely, extremely supportive and motivating, miss. But um, some some students are not as motivated by the teachers as some, and for obvious reasons. But I think what Natalia said was something very important about teachers motivating students, because I don't want persons to see me sitting here and think that I was always this, because I don't know where this ideology comes from, that Andrew is this bright and brilliant student. But in my eyes it is not so, and this is why I will say so. I remember coming to first form, I was a very rude young man. I was not settled. I was giving my father a lot of problem, my grandma a lot of problem. I was just all over the place. And I remember Mr. Gohagan, he was our form teacher at the time. And I was a very, very rude young man, and I gave the teachers a lot of problem. But the teacher that really took time to speak to me and to really, other than just the academics, or how is your personal life? What's going on at home? How are you and your father, the relationship that you and your father, have? And he was really the main person that really sat down with me and talked with me, and in a sense, he believed in me and he motivated me. And you got that feeling of that genuine love from a teacher, that he wanted the best for you. And even to this day, I always remember Mr. Wahagan, because he was the one that really motivated me and pushed me to get me settled, to get me started to focus in on my academics, and to not only focus just on my academics, but even on my personal life and my interactions with others. So I think that's a very important aspect of the learning and teaching environment.
I love those words, because you're showing us an arch now from a young man who thought he was not settled. You don't know that, even at first, you don't know what people thought of you. But in your eyes, you were not as settled as you should be. But you're looking on now how things have changed for you now, that many persons are looking on you as a very bright boy. Don't try to change their mind about that, Andre. Just continue to fulfill the destiny or the dreams that you have for yourself, and that is what we want, and that is the example that we're looking for. Because Mr. Scott chose the three of you for a reason. Persons, what he said about Matthew, you would get your maths grade and people would laugh, and you end up with a 1. Hmm? You were a part of the group that when the COVID-19 hit and you had to go home. And we're saying, Lord, what are they going to do? What are we going to do? How are we going to survive? Will they be able to do the exam? And see, there now you're at the next level of your life, right? We have this second set now where Andre, your set, they have said you would have suffered the most because you left in fourth form, and you lost a lot. Came back to school for about 4 weeks, then you're back home online. Some of you are still motivated, some not. And as the student council president, you know what is happening maybe more than some of us as to what is happening, why some of them are not attending the classes. But what we're saying in preparing for the exam, Natalie said, don't give up. Don't give up. Old people normally say it's darkest right before the dawn. It's darkest right before the dawn. So right now, right before the exam start, and the exam start June 15th for most of you, we have the rest of April and May. Everybody needs to have their syllabus for every subject. So you know the full content for all the subjects you're doing. At this point, everybody should be on the final touches for their school-based assessment. It should have already been in the hands of the teacher, or you just got it back to make some little corrections to send it back. All those logbooks should be with your teacher for marking, so that the school-based assessment is off your head. And you're just concentrating now on answering techniques and completing the last set of notes or last set of content that is there available. Because right now is the time to start cement in how you answer your questions, how you put the information to the marker. Because remember now, last year Matthew only did paper 1. This year, even in these still trying times where you're at home much longer, you have to do a paper 1 and a paper 2. But it can be done. And it will be done because you are not giving up. You have all the tools at your disposal. Natalie, any words of encouragement you have for them? All the students who are going to be doing exams right now. I know that you are doing exams also, but for these ones who are doing it for the first time in this condition, then Matthew, and then we hear again from Andre before Mr. Scott will close off the show.
Natalie, I
All right, she opened her mic, but seems as if she's having some problems. All right, Matthew, you go ahead.
Yes, so for Andre and all the students who are about to sit their CAPE and CSE exams, being at the community college, I've realized that motivation is one thing, right? But being determined, trust me, that's the key factor to success right now. You're at the stage where you must separate what is urgent from what is important. You staying at home, being relaxed and so forth, doing certain things that you may enjoy, that is urgent. But right now, your schoolwork is important, and that must come first. So you have to try bridge that gap. And as I said, know what you want, know what you stand for, and work towards your goals. It's not easy, right? It's not easy. It takes a lot, and trust me. One thing I miss about my high school is the support that I got from my teachers. Trust me, leniency. Trust me. Coming to college, no, nobody cares about you. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. No one cares. No one cares. So you must be determined. You must stay focused. And at the end of the day, choose your friends wisely. Choose your friends wisely. Choose your friends wisely. That's one thing I will reinforce over and over and over again. Because many times you're here working towards a goal, right? Your friends are working towards that same goal. But at the end of the day, your friend call you and practically basically ask for help. You you help him to achieve whatever, but at the same time when you need help, he's not there to help you at any point in time. And that being said, I'm not saying you should always be, well, how can I put it? You should be kind, yes, but don't let anyone take any advantage of your time. And as I said, Put yourself first. Put yourself first. Don't worry about the girlfriends. That can come at a later date. Trust me.
Yeah.
Worry about that. Your schoolwork, socializing. Be respectful. People will look out for you that way. Right? Don't take anything for granted. And you should always remember that when God is involved in anything that you do, more likely it will work out better than you expected. Yes. So just you can do it. Stay motivated. Right?
You
Not
see, Antonio saying real talk, Matthew, real talk. Love what is coming from the young man's mouth. Very good, Matthew. You dropped a lot of gems there, whole heap of gems. All right, is Natalie able to talk now before we go to Andre?
You guys hearing me?
Yes, we are.
I just want to say that sometimes you should not wait for others to motivate you, but you should be self motivated. Because if you sit down and wait for others for you to get motivation from others, you're going to lose a whole heap of time where you could have done something we're gonna make you better off. So yeah, and I'm doing exams now, and trust me, KP is much harder than CXC, CSEC, because especially the sciences, and I am doing all the sciences. So I am going through the same situation that you guys are going through, and sometimes I do feel like I want to give up. Sometimes I feel like I'm not smart enough. I have to make my parents proud and my teachers who believed in me and everyone around me. So that keeps me going. Sometimes you have to remember, say, you can't let down people who believe in you. Then put them all in you and remember, say, your parents put a lot of sacrifice in sending you to school. School is not cheap.
We're not hearing Natalie anymore, but I think she was making her point. You can't disappoint yourself or disappoint the persons who had believed in you. She's saying it's not hard, and every level you go up further, it gets harder. But it means that you would have already passed a level already. So you're now prepared for that extra level. But Andre, you're at the CSEC level, and you have heard from Matthew, you have heard from Natalie. What do you have to say? What have you learned or anything? What have you heard that was, important to you? And what do you have to say to others?
Yeah, so the part that really stood out for me was what Natalie said about family, because I think personally that is my main drive, my family, because they have sacrificed so much just to push me.
Yeah.
Because sadly, I lost my father at the latter part of 2019, and he was like the
Mhm.
main force. He said this to me. He said, "Jay, I have confidence in you." He didn't say confidence, no, but he said, "Jay, I have confidence in you." And even though his English was not the best, the love that my father showed me was like my mother and my father in one. And he
Yeah.
pushed me. That is my main aim. So I want persons not just to think about self in this, because self wasn't the only reason why they reached to this point. I want them to remember their family members, friends that have, teachers that have dedicated so much time and effort into making you or putting you on this stage. And as my grade six teacher would say to me, that the ball is in my court, so play the game and play it good and be wise. And speaking about wisdom, personally, I am a Christian, and God must come first above all. I don't think one can truly aspire to achieve something without having meaning or purpose in their life. And Christ gives me meaning in my life. He gives me purpose along with my family. And so God has to come first, and daily study of His Word is necessary also. So that's my part for my classmates too. Not only think of self. Self is important, but to remember their family members and the persons that have contributed a lot, and most importantly, the God that created them for a purpose, to execute that purpose to the best of their ability.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Mr. Scott, your turn.
Miss Johnson, Andre, and they know me very well because I have a close relationship with all these students, these three students. And I must admit today that the topic just came to my mind. When topic just came to my mind, and I called Andre, and I'm not telling Matthew just know about it, and I don't tell Matthew what we were doing. I said, Matthew, would you come and talk with me? And he said yes, and he jumped on board without even knowing the topic or anything like that. That is all Matthew is. And Natalie, I the camera because Natalie is shy. And Natalie, when Natalie speaks or spoke a while ago, tears came to my eyes because I am saying that 2 years ago when I met Natalie, Natalie can have self-doubt. And I know that it don't change automatically, but I'm seeing some amount of improvement in Natalie. So it's not about education only, but self-development. And I'm proud of her. I love her and I miss her at Marby High School. But I'm looking from afar and listening to her knowledge and her wealth of experience. I can say that the next 10 years I can look at my TV and say that's my student who I taught. Matthew is very genuine. I remember we were having a discussion with Johnson. I'm coming to the school and you said that Matthew, you have never met a student with more manageable than Matthew, and that is his characteristic. Always willing to help people. Even when people take him for granted, he's always there to help people. And Andre, I recently met Andre, and trust me, I'm amazed at Andre. Andre motivates me as a teacher as well. How he speaks his words of wisdom, going through a lot of defeat in life and still having that optimism, it is something that some adults themselves don't have. So my three students, I am indeed proud. I must say thank you for sharing your time. You could have been doing something else. And I know that this YouTube video will be impactful, and it must help someone to realize that Matthew does not have anything different from Andre, from Natalie, and if they can do it, you have to do it. It's about the mindset. Ms. Johnson, I just want to end by saying something which let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it because I just found it and say afterwards I would just say it. And it is for my three students. Very, very powerful words. It is what keep me intact as a teacher as well. It said that our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our greatest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. So I'm just want to say that our character, if we don't want the subject, if we don't want to pass the 6 C's, we must also focus on our God, our Creator who created us. We must always focus on our purpose, and we should not be selfish. We should not be selfish in helping others. But as Matthew said rightfully, before we can help others, we must learn to help ourselves. Other teacher, what I did starting this term, Miss Johnson, with my news fifth formers, every class I go to, I said Jeremiah 29 verse 11, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. And I can say, Miss Johnson, sometimes when I look at the of the students, when they're going through something, they put it up. They remember it. Sometimes I leave in class and I say, good day, class. I say, sir, we did not say Jeremiah 29 verse 11 because I said to them that you are created for a reason. God make it for a reason. You need to talk to your creator, find out what is your purpose and manifest it and help other people to discover their purpose. So I hope somebody is blessed by our conversation tonight. Again, thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Andre. And thank you, Natalie. And we will give you an update on them, because I am sure I can put my neck on the block to say that these students that we have online now, Miss Johnson, they are going to go very far and not only make themselves and their parents proud, but most importantly, the schools that they went to.
Very good. I love it. I love it. So, guys, thank you again for being with us. This is CNJ Let We Talk. We're here every weekday at 7:30 for different topics. Today it is Thursdays, and Thursdays we have CNJ and Scotty. And Scotty is always bringing thought provoking topics. And today we were looking on how students are preparing themselves for exam during this pandemic, COVID-19. How are you preparing? How is the child in your home preparing for exams? Are you being there for them? Are you that supportive figure? Are you helping them to ensure that they have all the tools that they need to actually achieve what you want them to achieve? Remember, they can't do it alone. They need our help. They need your help. So join us this and every
Hold on, Miss
weekday,
Johnson, Miss Johnson, sorry,
at
Miss Johnson,
mhm.
sorry to disturb
He
you.
stops
Sorry to
me
disturb
every week,
you.
you know. Every week he stops me when I'm doing my closing. Go ahead,
But
Mr. Scott.
remember, Miss Johnson, that the riddle. We always forget about the riddle. Remember the
Oh
riddle?
my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! And you realize that those ladies that are normally here with us on Thursday, I'm not seeing them, you know. Look like because
Well,
we start coming on earth later, they may have gone to
yeah.
the bed. But those ladies were in England.
Oh, oh,
Yes,
oh,
yes.
oh, oh.
But go
So the
ahead.
question, the
They watch
question
it the
was,
next day. They watch it the next
the
day.
question, the question that was asked is that Mary's father has five children: Nana, Nani, Nini, and Nono. And I asked you who was the fifth. As I think Andre last week, because Andre get it. I asked you who was the fifth child. Who was the
Who
fifth
was
child,
the
Miss
fifth child?
Johnson? No, you try. You tell me who the fifth child is, Johnson.
I don't know.
Is the fifth child is Mary. Mary's father has five child. I would say
Hold on
Nana.
again. No, say it again. When
Mhm.
I hear you. When I hear you.
Yeah, Mary's father has
Mary's
five
father.
children.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, has five children.
Uh-huh.
Ready? So it is
Yes.
Nana,
Uh-huh.
Nana,
Uh-huh.
Nani, Nini, Nene, and Nono. So the last
Oh,
child must be Mary. The last
would be
child
me.
must be Mary.
Oh, okay. So
In other-
the distractors were spelling out the word for we, so the person to be thinking about how the other
The
word would be
vowels
spelled. Oh,
AEIOU. That was the
oh,
distraction.
okay. When it was the first name you called, the first name you called. Okay, okay. All right. Thank you. And do you have another one for next week?
For next week, one of the riddle is I don't plan any for today. I don't remember any offhand.
All
But
right.
I'm gonna ask a question and then probably tell me what do you think? In old time days, we used to have something they call a kitchen bitch. What do you know a kitchen bitch to be? So that is the question I'm gonna ask them
Okay.
to
What's a
answer.
kitchen bitch?
What a kitchen bitch?
Red line.
Okay. I don't tell us yet, Matthew. Let us. So, guys, see you tomorrow at 7:30, and we are here every weekday at 7:30 for CNJ. Let We Talk. Thank you for being with us. Bye bye.